So, oh, there he is, the best looking man in automotive,
Talking
David
for
Long. Good morning. How are you?
good morning. I'm good. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too. Thank you so much for helping. I mean, you don't know, as David was one of the first people that I reached out to when I was started to plan this event. This whole event, the live stream, all the people, all the action, the seed for it was actually planted when I spoke to David's group, or the Hansel Automotive group where he works for. He asked if I would address the people, and we had about 50 to 100 people on a Zoom call, and it really just triggered me like, wow, the more of this we can do as an industry, the better we're all going to feel and the better decisions we can make. So, David, you unknowingly can take a lot of credit for the fact that all these people are gathered here today. What do you say to that?
I say thanks for joining my call. You made a huge impact on the company.
Well,
Thank you.
that's good to know. If anything, I can smile and tell people that it's going to be okay. If that's all I got, it's all I got. Um, So you're in the San Francisco Bay Area. Can you tell us a little bit about the group that you work for and kind of how the situation has rolled out to this point and how you've responded to it?
So we have 9 rooftops. We've been in business for 50 years. Just an absolute great company. We have been through 3 shutdowns in the past 8 months. We had fires that shut us down. A lot of people lost their homes. Then we had a cyber attack that shut us down. And now this, the most difficult situation we've been through so far. We've been closed in our sales operations for a couple weeks, and our service department is on a skeleton crew. So that's where we are today.
Um, Tell me, what are you seeing as far as the way your area? I think when we look at the San Francisco Bay Area, I think it was the first shelter in place location, right? So that was the first time I think as a country we saw like, hey, I think this is getting a little serious, right? Because if you're not right in the middle of it, it might be like, oh yeah, okay, so it's a virus, and we'll figure it out. So I think you were kind of one of the trigger states where people started leaning in and paying a little bit more attention. Can you explain, like, from that point, which means also that you were the first in, so you will likely be the first out. Um, how did things happen and roll out for you, and like how have you seen it progress? Like, where do you see yourself in the life cycle of it getting worse, or it's leveling off, or maybe it's the valves opening up again? How do you see that?
So the way it's forecasted here is the surge is right on top of us, right? These next 2 weeks will be horrific in our
Yep.
market, in our state. We have a lot of our employees have loved ones or husbands or wives in the healthcare industry, and it's a really difficult situation. We're finding more impacts on people that we know here in the Bay Area, and it's real. Today it is real. A couple weeks ago, I'm thinking we're back operating by Easter, like the president was saying. Today we are not thinking that way.
So what are you thinking? Because some people, like some dealers that I know across the country have just started shutting down. So you shut down. What was it like? Started shutting down like 2 weeks ago. Is that about right?
Yeah, on the 17th, we started shutting down. Sales business became non-essential. Service remained essential.
Hmm.
We were able to sell cars online,
Hmm.
and oddly enough, we continue to sell cars to the person that needs cars. But we are
Hmm.
not that company that has a grill on the roof and the balloons flying and hurry up, deals will never be better. That's just not who we are. We
Yep.
are absolutely safety first company, taking care of our people.
Yeah, and I witnessed that, virtually firsthand when I joined the daily meeting. That the staff that were working, you spent the first 10 minutes going through item by item your very detailed safety protocol, and you said, you may be getting tired of me saying this, but I'm going to say it every single day until we know we're out of the woods. So I know that you take that very seriously, and I think that's a testament to the fact that you can pay extreme attention to it and be extremely safe, um, to operating at a reduced level. So 2 weeks ago, started to shut down, right? You feel like now you're at the crest of it, and they're saying, "Hey, this next week or two are going to be like the top of the curve." And then hopefully, we're all hoping and praying that after 2 weeks. So right now, it's probably as bad as it's going to get for you, and you're feeling it, is what you're saying.
Well, actually, in the next 2 weeks, it'll be as bad as it'll get.
Okay, so we're right up to that top part.
We're just right there, getting ready to really kind of have it all hit the fan at this
Yep.
moment.
Yeah. So in 2 weeks from now, we'll probably have a little more insight on what that actually looked like.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, and I know later on we'll be talking to Brian Benstock, also a friend of yours, and I think New York City has kind of turned into what is considered ground zero for this virus, the most cases, and so we'll get a little insight from the East Coast on that. David, can you tell me? We have a few minutes left here. How are you dealing, encouraging, and coaching your people through this?
So I was very fortunate to have friends like you, Paul, that every single day at 3:00 we have the Zoom meeting, and everybody's included. I'm talking about husbands, wives, family members, anybody in the workplace, porters, everybody. You name it, and they're invited. Neighbors. And when we get together at 3:00, I go through the safety protocol. I try to deliver, not worse than it is, not better than it is, but what it really is all about right now. And then I invite people like you to share an inspirational and hope-filled message to keep people's spirit up, right? It's a difficult time. So the emotional connection part of this, I can't physically touch anybody. Everybody's 6 feet apart, but I can certainly fill their emotional pool with people like you and some other really great friends that have helped me lead the team through this. I'm really, really fortunate to have an automotive industry of friends that I can just reach out to and have you guys there and gals there for me. It's been amazing.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is more communication, more open availability. Like when you're including husbands and wives, significant others, like all of a sudden, like I've never considered that before, but all of us who do have a significant other that we're going through this thing with, if there's uncertainty at work or there's anything with our income, often there can be a big disconnection between the person who has the job and then the person at home who's just hearing it from the person who has the job, but there's another layer of disconnection. I think that's brilliant to include the significant others. I've never thought of that. I think that's a very executable tip that a lot of dealers and organizational leaders can take into consideration, because right now with tools like Zoom, it doesn't cost any more to do that.
Nothing. Let me give you an example.
Yeah, please.
She very seldom texts me. She's been texting me every day. Dad, have a great day. Stay safe. So it on her heart, she's worried about her dad at work. So imagine if I can touch the families and say, this is what we're doing to take care of your husband or wife. This is how we're caring for each other. These are the safety protocols that are in place. Here's how you file for unemployment. Here's what you do if you don't feel like working anymore. Work right now in my environment is completely optional. So if the husband or wife doesn't want the other to work, they don't need to work. We're going to do what we can to take care of them.
Amazing. That's a great example. I want to get to some questions before we have to go. So what post-COVID permanent changes are you planning on making at the dealership?
So I was just asked that question by your previous speaker, Jim Fitzpatrick. And the business that we exit this COVID-19 with will be a completely different business than we entered it with. I mean, it will almost not even resemble on a lot of levels what we're going to do post than pre. And I would need more than 15 minutes to get into it because it's a completely structured game plan and it's different.
Okay. Then let's go to the next question. Yeah. Do you see special finance market increasing? And if so, how can dealerships prepare for that?
Well, the dealer with the best inventory wins. I've been saying that forever. So you can't really win in that market if you don't have the right inventory. So I would recommend a product like Van to buy the right cars, the people that have that second and third car in their driveway. Get the right inventory and you have positioned yourself effectively.
You're talking about Vehicle Acquisition Network. Is that what you're referring to? Okay.
Correct. Because I shouldn't say nobody. We had a good sales percentage yesterday at the auction, but because the private party market, a lot of dealers aren't buying cars. That is a perfect market to fill your inventory if you want to focus on secondary. Very,
very good. And David knows something about inventory. At one point, I believe you had Dale Pollock's gold trophy of the most efficient inventory in the country. Is that true?
Well, he's too kind. He did.
And you're too humble.
100 cars in stock. True. Two over 60 days. We were turning about 15 times a year. We were doing okay.
Yeah. So inventory still, the basics still matter, right? Special finance, having the inventory that meets the demand is the name of the game.
Always.
All right, let's see. We have a few minutes left, so let's see. Are you enhancing your digital retailing experience since all of this started?
So again, we're enhancing it only in the way that we want our consumers to know we're available to care for them if they need it. We're not going out trying to glean people to come in and take advantage of great sales. Safety first. And we're still selling 15 to 20 cars a day, by the way.
Yep. Next, are you seeing notable volume in online sales versus pre-COVID-19? Now, I mean, that question is kind of, I'll let you just do with that what you want. They say, are you seeing a notable volume in online sales versus pre-COVID?
So it's interesting to watch the graph as it relates to online traffic. And it has definitely increased, but truthfully, not as much as I thought it would.
Interesting.
As it relates to conversions and lead volume, and it's not predictable at this point. It changes every day.
You know, I have been seeing some things in the industry that people are looking right now. And, you know, a lot of that might play out more like front lines in the sense of like via third parties, just because they're the more, you know, like people can shop a larger inventory at once. But my prediction is that the second that valve starts to open, that we're going to see traffic change, because people are still going to be hesitant to come out as much. And so I think that like once that valve opens a little bit, I'm predicting that we're going to see a change significantly in the traffic that people are willing to transact online. All right, we got 1 minute left, and I think we would all benefit to hear. Can you give us one example of something positive that has come of this difficult situation?
Oh, I wish I had more than a minute.
I knew you'd say that.
Like the Alex Vetters of the world and the Brian Benstocks and the John Melashenkos and the real influencers in our industry have been so amazing to not only on the vendor side reduce rates, but the amount of love and support that I'm getting. I only have 20% of my entire staff working. So my extended staff is the Alex Vetter team and the Cars.com and the True Car team and the other teams that are just going out of their way to make sure that our deals and our customers are being taken care of in a really quality way. I couldn't do it without them. So that's probably the most positive piece of all this, is how it's brought us together.
Very nice. Well, David, thank you so much for giving some time to check in from the West Coast and let us know how you're dealing with things, and encouraging everyone. If you don't, David is on LinkedIn, David Long. Please connect with him, follow him. He's one of the most open hand men that I know. And thank you very much for sharing your time and your insights with us.
Great idea with doing this. I'm glad I could be part of it.
We'll try to do it again.
All right, Paul. Take care.
Feel free to leave the room. Thanks, David.
Thank you.